I guess I'm going to start with this song called Eliza Jane, which was sort of a tongue-in-cheek takeoff of the old fiddle tune Eliza Jane. Only this one was just something I wrote in the middle of the night that was more about my worst fears. There's a fun little happy fiddle tune that's about my worst fears. Wake up in the morning, the dogs are barking, birds are singing. New day dawning, I'm so worried about everything. Thank God I'm breathing, I still got my wedding ring. Time is fleeting, and I'm so worried about everything. Oh, Eliza, you try so hard, you don't see nothing. Blue horizon. Lift your eyes and you just might find you see something good. Eliza, little Liza, oh Eliza, little Liza Jane. This world still got half a chance, still got half a voice to sing. Still doing that doomsday dance, I'm so worried about everything. Swing around the one-way track like a ringing around a rosy. Element left and you can't go back. Do-si-do, do-si-do. Eliza, you try so hard, you don't see nothing. Blue horizon and you're expecting rain. Lift your eyes and you just might find you see something good. Eliza, little Liza, oh Eliza, little Liza Jane. Oh Eliza, you try so hard, you don't see nothing. Blue horizon, you're expecting rain. Your eyes and you just might find you see something good. Eliza, little Liza, oh Eliza, little Liza Jane. I'm so worried about everything. Dogs are barking, birds are singing. I'm so worried about
Well, I'd like to start by talking a little bit about your songwriting approach. I know you teach songwriting classes, and one of the things you tell your students is don't be a parody. And I was wondering if you could maybe elaborate on that message a little bit, what you mean by that.
Well, especially in folk music, because folk music, it reminds me of that old, of Animal House, the scene with John Belushi
Right.
when he's sitting on the steps and or he comes down, he's in his toga and he comes down the steps and there's that guy who's singing, I gave my love a cherry, and it's like, that's the thing I don't want to be. I don't want to be the person that somebody, breaks their guitar over their head, I just, folk music has such a beautiful tradition of being socio-political. And so, but it doesn't mean that you get to write folk music with a message that's just bad music. You want to write great songs. So it's more about instead of fitting into a genre and to a stereotype, it's like keep pushing yourself as a writer and make great music, write great songs. Don't be focusing on the thing that is something external to yourself.
Right. And would you say that challenge is trickier when writing sort of more personal songs, or is it trickier when you're trying to write social and politically oriented songs like that?
Well, for me, it's just that's when my radar goes up. I get turned off by message music. I just have an instant turn off. I don't like people preaching at me. So that's, to me, that's the parody of a folk singer. When you hear some of the old folk singers, like say Josh White or something, who came up out of the struggle for social justice and who had a tough life, and you hear him singing a social justice song, that's not that's not a message song. That's somebody who's had a hard road to hoe, and he's singing his pain and he's singing his highest hopes. And it's like, you got to be authentic in yourself first, because then that message, otherwise that message is, to me, is very two-dimensional and a kind of a turn-off. So, but at the same time, I think it's really important to write social, socio-political music, but it better be grounded in something deeper than this, pat little message that you want to put out.
Right. And so your most recent album is called The Nocturne Diaries, and just got a Grammy nomination for Best Folk Album. Congratulations.
Thank
about
you.
that.
Thank you.
One of the interesting things, a couple of the songs on there, you have a couple of songs that are written from the eyes of disillusioned teenagers. You have American Boy, about a kid who's about to go on a killing rampage, and then another song about a young girl who's been abused. I was wondering, how difficult is it for you to write character studies based on characters that are very different from yourself?
Great question. I do have to put myself into the headset of that person, so there is an emotional component to it, and sometimes it comes from having known somebody. But in the case of American Boy, I think one of the reasons that I took on such a weighty topic there was that it's not just, these are not isolated incidents anymore. These are much more across. This is happening more and more. This is become a societal reflection. It's not random and removed anymore. So you see it as part of a greater illness and a reflection of a society that is really in so many ways sick. So, and you see these very bright kids coming up in a world where they're wondering, is there going to be a place for them in that world? And instead of dealing with the grief and the depression that they're feeling around that and addressing, the world doesn't have the options that it had 20 years ago. Your life is, in danger now, and in the future is going to get worse. So, I mean, kids are going to be depressed around that because they're smart. And we're putting them on medication. We're not allowing them to feel the dread of the world they live in. So it's an issue with me. So that's why I took it on, because I felt this needs to be looked at in a societal point of view, not just sort of this isolated kid.
Well, one of the things I've heard you reference in the past is the difference between songs that sort of come to you during the day and songs that come to you at night. Yeah. How would you describe the difference? And do certain kinds of songs are more likely to come to you during the evening hours? How would you describe that?
Okay, well, here, like, for instance, daytime song. Daytime. Baby, baby, I'm playing it cool like a love-struck girl from my old high school. You taste so sweet. I'm trying hard to follow my rules, 'cause I don't want to be one of those forlorn fools out on the street. Oh, but I could fall, I know you could too. Right over the line, you could be mine. What we're doing the dance that two lovers do when they're out of time. On the borderline. So, that to me is like a daytime song. That's just like, even if it's a breakup song. But for instance, the difference, two different breakup songs. Here's one that was written at night. It won't last. It's got a fatal flaw. Woven into the fabric, set into the foundation. I'm getting too old for this unhappy end. scratchy tune on my violin, a tired equation. It goes on. You know, it's
Sounds
darker.
Like the minor chords come out at night.
Yeah, exactly. And then just you're feeling more vulnerable. And the other girl, they're both breaking up, but one of them is just like, I'm getting out of here, and the other one is
Are there any 3 a.m. songs? Is that a whole different genre, or we don't go that far?
Yeah, I haven't been able to. Yeah, they all come at various times. There really aren't any rules. The only rule is I teach my classes: just get them as they're coming. Don't think they're gonna sit around and wait for you. This is just a love song. Winding down to the end of the line, and the falling of the curtain. I'll be yours and you'll be mine. Of that one truth I'm certain. I will give you roses fair for every secret you did share. For all your words that flowed like wine, roses at the end of time. Tonight I bless the hands of fate that brought you to my doorway. Weary, worn, and worth the wait, so willing to explore me. One rose for every vow you kept, one for every tear you wept, for all the moments you were kind. Roses at the end of time. One rose for every dream you dared, one for every wrong repaired, for all that bound your heart to mine. Roses at the end of time. Roses.
A lot of people might be surprised to learn that you put out your first album in 1969.
I know.
Can you identify any elements of your style that have remained pretty constant since 1969, or would you say you're a completely different musician?
That's also a great question. No, I honestly, if I listened to it because somebody found the album and they paid a lot of money for it and they put it onto a CD for me.
Uh-huh.
So I listened to it when they sent it to me because I hadn't heard it in years and I didn't have a record player. And I was so amazed. I mean, the voices, of course, changed. It's got a lot lower, but I was so amazed at what I was writing. It was all, of course, there was some hippie Back to the Land stuff. There was also some drug culture influence. But for the other thing that was going on there, though, was this sense that I've always had, that the world as we know it is not going to be able to maintain this sort of unsustainability, and I knew it even then.
Interesting.
And I was writing about it even then. So it's been a big theme with me. How long are we going to be able to sustain this madness before the whole house of cards falls? And that was very much on that record too.
Well, we can't let you get out of here without talking a little bit about your collection, because I know you have a very impressive guitar collection.
I love my guitars, that's true.
So why don't we start with this one that you brought with you, and then we'll go from there.
This is my latest. Nick Forster from Hot Rise. I was staying with them last time I was through up there, and he said, Eliza, you ought to check this out. And he had a 53. He has a 53, and as soon as I put it in my arms, I was like, oh my God, I love this. It's a Gibson CF-100e, and has the same P90 pickup. This has the original pickup, the same thing that's in the 160e. And
what year was it?
51.
51.
And I love the neck. I love the action on this one. This one already somebody had already had the same idea I had, which is keep the P90 for an electric sound, and then put in he put in a Highlander? Is that what
Highlander mic. Yeah.
Highlander mic, and it was the exact right mic for this thing. It's such a good sounding mic. So on stage, I literally go between, I just unplug, I run through 2 different systems. Because I'm traveling a lot, I don't travel with an amp. I use a Sans amp. I know that's probably not very purist, but this is like a rig in a box. It's really amazing how good both of these sound separately. And it's so fun to only travel with one guitar and be able to get so many options out of it. So this is really my baby. I'm so nervous about losing it. They're really hard to find. They used to be around, but now they've almost doubled in value since I bought this one.
Really?
Yeah, and the only one I can find right now is in Japan. So there's one on eBay, but it's a 58, and apparently in 55 they changed the bracing, so you want the pre-55. So I have this one that is my my favorite, and then I also have a 32 L00, which I use a lot for recording, and it has a floating fingerboard, which Nick pointed out to me. I didn't even notice. That shows you how untechy I am. But apparently that just makes it even more wonderful. Much less, a little bit more resonance out of the box. So
sure. It's
really a very sweet guitar. I use it quite a bit. And then I have the other one I play a lot on, that song Roses at the End of Time. I use this old 1932 Regal parlor guitar that I got on eBay, that my brother Tony just said, there's something about this guitar I'm looking at, I'm thinking this is a really neat guitar. So I bid on it, and I got it for $100, and it needed about 400, but it's just the singingest thing. It's just really round and fluty and very sweet sounding. So those are my go-tos, and then I have an old K Swing Master that my brother gave me. And I use that a lot for electric, and then a regular, just a wonderful J45, and that's pretty. And then an old Goya that my dad bought me for a flamenco sort of, Spanishy gut string.
Yeah, I read you got that in 1965, right?
I did.
At Wallach's.
I did.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell anybody that?
You must have.
Yeah.
I couldn't have guessed
got it at
that.
Wallach's Music City, and my dad's picture was on the wall there. It was really cool. Sunset and Vine. We went in, he picked it out. I picked it out, and it was my first really, important guitar. And then that guitar, I gave it to my brother in the late 60s, and he gave it to some guy, and the guitar was gone. And then something like 30 years later, I was on tour, and the guy brought it back to me.
Really?
At a show, yeah.
Isn't
and he
that
said,
nice?
"Do you recognize this?" And I was like, "No." It had aged like me, but we had both done some aging. We both had patinas.
Right, and I guess at some point I think you were playing a Takamine. Is that still in the arsenal?
I loved that Takamine. I have to say, I smoked some big acts on big stages with that thing who had their tailors with their expensive setups. So I just plugged that thing in, and it rocked. They gave me an endorsement, and until I found this one, which was just a whole other world of sound, but
yes,
it was a really good workhorse and great for a touring artist. I actually have no bad feelings about Takamine for a touring artist who's at the level that I am. You don't have anybody helping you. You're flying a lot. You don't want to worry about it. Anything happening to it. It's a replaceable guitar, and it sounds great over really crappy sound systems too. If you're if you're playing,
that makes a difference.
It does.
Definitely.
It does. You got EQ on board, and you can work on the fly, and it's really. I have no bad things to say about it. It's just that I love this one more. You get to a certain age where you realize you have more years behind you than you do ahead, and so your perspective shifts, and I think even relationships, they're seen with this backdrop of your mortality in a way. So that's sort of where this song came from. Turn off the harsh glare of the flat screen blue light. Turn off the hardware. Get it out of my sight. And turn your face to me and hold me tonight. Like there's no tomorrow. No tomorrow. Forget the dishes. Leave them stacked in the sink. Tonight my great wish is that I won't have to think. Just let your sweet kisses drive me over the brink. Like there's no tomorrow. No tomorrow. Tell me all you're feeling. Don't hold anything back. Find the holes in the ceiling. We can slip through the cracks. And I'll hold on to you till the world fades to black. Like there's no tomorrow. No tomorrow. No tomorrow.
Great. Great.
Thank you.